So this month's student of the month went through my portrait course, and this is the painting that they did before going through the course, and this is the painting they did after going through the course. So in this video, we're going to talk about their journey. All right, welcome to Paint Coach. If you're new to the channel, my name's Chris Fornatero, and I help thousands of students every single month get better at painting through my online courses and tutorials. And this is actually the first video where I am doing a student of the month. Every single month, any students that are a part of Paint Coach Studio can submit some of their paintings to possibly become Student of the Month, where they'll get featured here on the YouTube channel and also my newsletter and Instagram. So if you want to become Student of the Month, check out Paint Coach Studio. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. Now, this student's name is Tracy, and Tracy went through my Portrait Painting 101 course, and she's also a part of the apprentice level tier on Paint Coach Studio, which means every single month she can submit paintings to possibly get critiqued. And this month she sent the work that she did through the course, and I was like, this is awesome. You made crazy progress, so you're going to become Student of the Month. And I thought I'd make a great YouTube video for y'all to see as well. So here is the first painting that she did before going through the course, and gonna be honest, she's already starting out in a pretty good spot. Like, this is a pretty good, pretty good portrait to start out with. I feel like the form of the face is reading really well. I like the planes that are being communicated. Like, nothing looks flat, drawing wise, like nothing's out of place. Like, it's not like, an eye is up here or something like that. It's all looking really, really good, starting in a good place. Some of the things that I would have to critique would be, first off, probably drawing. I feel like the width of this hair is a lot wider than the reference here, so they probably could have tapered that in a little bit. Something in particular is, I'm going to try and zoom in here, the mouth. I feel like more form could have been sculpted with the mouth. And if I kind of take some of this skin color here, a lot of times with the mouth, you can see it actually come back to something that color here. You see how it gets tucked in back here? Whereas over here, it's just straight. There's like a famous quote from John Singer Sargent that says, like, a portrait is a painting with something wrong with the mouth, meaning mouths are probably the toughest part. So just kind of getting that little area tucked in back there. And also kind of softening the corner of the mouth here. A lot of times those little indentations there, it's a little softer, and a lot of times a little grayer, a little cooler. So I think they could work on that a little bit more. Also with the hair, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of kind of the same brushstroke over and over, and it would have been nice for like the highlights of this hair, I'll pull their color, to kind of connect and have more solid, definitive shapes here. And I think that would have helped it a lot as well. Skin tone wise, I feel like the skin tones are close. They seem a little bit grayed down. I feel like they could have pulled out a little more color saturation and color variety in this, but let's see how they do as they progress through the course. So this is actually the first exercise in the course. Is I've taken the reference photo and I put it into black and white and put the cutout filter on it just to make it simple shapes. And this is to help you change the way you look at the face and to really simplify it and understand the form as it pertains to values, because that's what's going to create the form of the face are the values. It's also going to help you connect shapes, kind of looking at a shape like this and really seeing it and painting it as one big shape. The better you get at simplifying the face and the shapes, the easier it's going to be. I feel like they did a really good job, and they also did a good job of dialing in the values, meaning, this is lighter than this, yet darker than this, and this is lighter than this. I do think they might have gone a little too light right here, because I see like this brightest highlight isn't popping quite as much. And so that might be a little bit of an issue there. And a main thing that this exercise can help you with is just developing your eye of comparing values. So this is the demo that I did, and you can see just kind of how much darker I kept this, and just the relationship of the values of, how much kind of closer together this value is to this and this value is to this, and keeping it dark so when it does come time for these bright highlights, they're gonna really pop. Also would have liked to seen them be a little more confident with their brush work and identifying shapes with one stroke. Like I see like this shape here, this shape or that shape, and it looks like there was a kind of a lot of fussing going on. And if you can get it like this right here, I kind of just put the brush down and right there, put this down like that. Kind of a helpful thing to think about is when identifying these shapes is to like put your brush on the canvas and see how long you can keep it there with every single stroke. Now, another exercise that is in the portrait course is painting the plane head model with the same lighting setup as the model. You can see it's the same here. We have, this shadow on the, well, her left side, but the right side here. You can see like things like this plane here is the brightest, which is right there. And just doing this is just going to help you see the planes more and kind of, running your brush along them and just becoming familiar with them. I can't stress enough like how important it is to become familiar with the planes of the face, because the more familiar you are with them, the more you're going to see them in the faces that you paint. So here's their painting. This is the reference photo, and this is mine. I feel like they did a really, really good job on this. I feel like the drawing might be a little off, like I'm seeing a little more of this plane than here. So again, just a little bit of a drawing issue, but overall, I feel like the value relationships are really, really good here. I feel like I see like a step up from the previous exercise with values to this one. Just the subtle value shift from here to here. Like, yes, this is lighter, but I feel like they dialed in the correct relationship. And even subtle things like here to here, I mean, they might have been able to go a little bit lighter. Like, I think maybe taking that, because you see kind of how big of a bigger of a jump that is there. So I think they could have done that and get that red back. But again, kind of coming back to brush work, I see here, like I see little strokes like that. And it would have been really nice if they just would have like put their brush down, just get one stroke, like get a wider brush and go whoop, get that. Same right here. I see dit, 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 dit. Like that would have been nice to imagine that you're putting your brush on that little ledge and going and getting that there. It's gonna come off as more confident. All right, now here is the eye study. I go through and actually do a study of each one of the features, the eye, the nose, and the mouth, and this is their eye. And they did a really good job. I think they really nailed this. It definitely has that effect of light shining through it. So one of the things I talk about the course is wherever this light is, some call it like the catch light, like that main like reflection that everybody loves to paint, means that the light's coming in this way. And so the light's actually going through the eye and coming out over here. So a lot of times with the color of the eye, this area will show the most color. You can kind of see that. You can actually see it happening here. You can kind of pick up the most color right there, opposite that catch light. And you see that I put mine in there as well. And so I definitely see that happening there. Some things I think they could have improved on. I think their colors are still getting a little bit, I want to say like muddy, and just kind of, I feel like this is just could use a little more color. Maybe, I don't know if they're using too much black and not enough like maybe burnt sienna or some other color to get the shadows. Those things are kind of a little too gray. Also would have liked to see them identify the planes and the eyelids a little bit more. With eyelids, a lot of times you can kind of block them out into two planes on the bottom, like one there, and just not really seeing it here. Thinking if they could have gotten like one of these darker colors there. See, when you know what to put in, you don't need, like you can see like a whole bunch of little stuff happening there. You don't need all that stuff. You can communicate it simply when you know what to put in there. And here we go. And here's their final painting. And I feel like they improved in pretty much everything that I've been talking about throughout this video. I feel like their drawing is perfectly on point. Like I see that they definitely brought this in. It's not too wide. Let me get my red little pen here. The colors are just absolutely incredible. I think they totally nailed the skin tones. I love how there's just hints of red in the cheeks there. I think that's working really, really well. The highlights in this nose and the form of the nose is working so well. And what I said earlier about like them having shapes with kind of harsh lines, that is definitely not happening here. All the form is working really, really well. And there's no arbitrary brushwork. Like I'm not seeing like little kind of strokes here and there. Everything is solid. And I feel like the thing that's impressing me the most is this mouth. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And you can just see how much form they have with the mouth. And they have that soft edge, like I was talking about there, a little cooler, a little grayer. It's definitely getting tucked back into there. And even the planes of the lips, how there's the inner plane there on the bottom lip that's a little darker, and then it gets a little lighter for the middle plane, and then dark again for the outer plane. Just all the form here is working so well, and just got a lot of really good colors in the shadows here. Nothing, all the values are working really, really well. You know, they didn't push the shadows too dark or push these lights too light so that when they put these in, they don't work. Just overall, just think they just really, really nailed this. The only little critique I might have is I feel like I could still maybe pull out a slightly, let me see here. I feel like they could have used like a slightly lighter value just to get a little more shapes here in the hair. Give a little more of a shinier look, but that's about it. You know, overall, I think they made amazing progress, and I can't wait to see the portraits they do next. So that was Tracy. She's an apprentice level student who took my portrait painting 101 course. And again, if you would like to submit to be student of the week, all you have to do is become a member of Paint Coach Studio at the student level or above. And if you want to do that, there's a link to it in the description of this video. And if you would like to see some minute-long, quick little lessons, I got those on my Instagram at Forza43. I'm Chris Fornatero here telling you to go get painting.